only trust to the northern star. That's the only point that's fixed. I once believed in love. Even love cannot bridge this rift. Where is my lucky star to...
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News, and I'm James Creechbaum. And snowstorms returning to the Northwest this weekend. Cold and snow may keep freight volumes down, rejections up. Frequent rainstorms and snowstorms have slammed the Northwest this month, resulting in higher volatility in this freight region. Quiet weather days have been scarce. And another storm is on the way this weekend. This storm may not have as much impact on the travel and trucking as some of the others, but it could still have some effects. Stretches of interstate roads will become hazardous again, likely leading to some delays in freight movement. The Northwest region, or Pacific Northwest, has its own, as it's also known, is typically made up of backhaul markets year-round, meaning there's usually more freight entering the region than leaving it. This can loosen capacity as more trucks get stuck waiting for loads to haul away. This results in carriers rejecting fewer loads since they have fewer freight options from which to choose. Here's a report that came in from a witness of a cryptid. Somewhere in West Virginia, again, middle of the night, I got off an exit. One of those long, curvy ones. I saw lights before I got off and assumed it was exit stuff, or maybe even construction. I get to the exit, and it's not construction. It's a ton of Army or National Guard guys. The exit was lit up brighter than daytime, so many lights set up pointing everywhere. The Army guys were completely decked out, gas mask on, and assault rifles. They were sprinting around, shouting all kind of things. One guy at the corner was frantically waving me through to get back on the highway. I gunned it out of there, looked in the news later, and didn't see anything. No idea what was going on that night, but it sure was really, really bizarre. Bizarre 3 tentacled sea monster has been identified. Now, marine experts have shed light on a recent viral video showing a bizarre sea creature with 3 tentacles. The video shows the creature flapping about on a wooden deck or pier, presumably after being fished up by a young man whose voice can be heard expressing disbelief at the peculiar catch. Now, marine experts here at the Ocean Conservation Trust have taken a look at the video, and without seeing the animal firsthand, it is, of course, tricky to identify 100%, he told everybody on the report. However, from what he can see, it does appear to be an underdeveloped skate. Blue fire of the sea. Amazing bioluminescent algae filmed in Australia. The Australian photographer captured amazing footage of bioluminescent algae emitting a magnificent neon blue glow. This rare occurrence only usually happens about once or twice a year. Ghost hunter calls 911 after hearing a voice. A paranormal investigator called the emergency services after hearing cries for help at a Pennsylvania cemetery. The peculiar incident, which took place on Wednesday just before 10 a.m., occurred after the ghost hunter, whose name has not been disclosed, called the police after hearing what he described as a woman's voice calling out to him in Evergreen Cemetery in Spring Hill Township. During the 911 call, he remained adamant that the voice, which had been coming from a pile of dirt inside a shed at the cemetery, had been screaming, "Help, help, I'm buried alive." Keen to help the woman and unwilling to wait until officers had arrived on the scene, he reportedly purchased a shovel and started digging next to the shed in a bid to reach her. When the troopers got there, however, there was no sign of a woman anywhere. No female was located, and troopers cleared the scene, he said in the incident report. As things stand, the source of the voice that the man had heard continues to remain a total mystery. Next news break on the next show.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Boy, the week has went by so fast. Now, if you had an encounter with a spirit, poltergeist, or something strange in your house, on your property, why don't you send me, an email? It's easy to do. It's nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Our guest tonight is Tony and his lovely wife. Now, I got to ask you guys both a question. What would you recommend for somebody who just wants to get into ghost hunting? Should they join a group? Should they just buy the equipment and do it on their own? What type of equipment would they need? And what do you guys honestly recommend what they need to do to start, if that's something they want to do as a hobby or a career or what?
Well, for somebody first starting out, my first advice would be to either A, join a group, or find somebody that has multiple years of experience to be able to work with them and learn from them. The biggest mistake I think any new investigator could make would be to not do the necessary things to A, protect themselves, or two, not have the knowledge to be aware when they may have encountered something that is much more dangerous than what it appears to be. And a very good example of that is like the spirit of a small child. That is usually a red flag to begin with. Not that you can't run into children's spirits, but we just from experience know that when it is pretending to be a child, chances are you have the possibility of running into something much more dangerous. But the experience of working with somebody or a group that has experience and learning from them would definitely be my first recommendation. Cherie and I have made our share of mistakes, and some of them really stupid ones, years and years ago, which now we have learned from. But as far as the equipment question goes, for somebody just starting out, something as simple as a video camera with maybe night vision on it. You don't have to go as spectacular as the full spectrum and all of that yet, but a video camera with good sound quality and night vision capabilities, I would recommend. I would definitely recommend a good quality digital recorder, because one of the best forms of evidence I think that can be captured are EVPs. And a simple, somewhere between a
cell phone.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point too. Even a cell phone, although people always say, "Oh, that wasn't made to be used for paranormal." Well, there's not a single piece of equipment out there that was technically made for the paranormal, and a cell phone has both a video recorder and an audio recorder, and my wife uses hers during our investigations. Now, we've got usually portable lighting to go with it, but she has captured some of the best EVPs on both cell phone video and cell phone audio than some of our extremely expensive equipment. So some sort of video recording device, an audio recorder, an EMF, because that can be useful. You can go into the real high end and expensive paranormal equipment, but 9 times out of 10, the majority of our evidence shows up on a video recorder, an audio recorder, or photos.
True.
So very interesting. Now, you're saying a regular a cell phone could work for somebody just starting out. I got to ask you another question. What is your honest feeling about ghost boxes? I have mixed feelings because I have a massive electronic background. I know how when you go in there and modify these radios, how it scans up and down, and you can hear, because it's going up and down the band, you can hear bits and pieces, and sometimes it'll match the question you ask. But I got a mixed gut feeling on ghost boxes. What is your guys' feeling?
Well, let me ask you a question first, Gary. How have you used one, and for how long?
I have played with the apps, and I actually have one. And again, I have a massive electronic background, massive. And I know how when you modify these things through the phase lock loop circuitry, that it'll scan up and down the frequency. I don't know. I've asked questions and got somewhat of answers, but again, I could have asked another question and got the same type of answer. I don't know. You're taking bits of broadcast, from different radio stations, different songs, different what announcers are saying, and is this scanning up and down and catching, the most powerful part of the signal. So a stronger radio station, for example, is going to be more, how can I say, it's going to show up more than a weaker station is. It's just the way how it works.
Well, you're absolutely correct, but a truly well-built ghost box will scan the frequencies to a point where it's not the radio stations that you're listening for. It's in between them. And when you recognize how a spirit speaks and how they communicate, they're going to be in those silent sections where you're not picking up a radio. And let's face it, if your spirit box is picking up, a second or two of music, a Taco Bell commercial, a car dealership ad, you can clearly tell that that thing's not scanning at the rate it should be. And I'm not just talking about the frequency at which it scans, whether that be, a 400 millisecond or 100 millisecond. I'm talking about that it's not scanning to the point where it's opening up where spirits do speak. And they speak in between. And over that white noise hiss, their voice will come in either above that hiss or below that hiss. And every time we catch one, their voices come in between 100 hertz and 300 hertz is where the sound of their voice is resonating from. So are there hundreds of spirit boxes out there that don't quite work like they should? Yeah, there are. But I can tell you, when you have one that does, and you use it in a factor that it was made to be used, I 100% believe they work, and they work really well. In fact, we started years and years and years ago with a simple SP7, which, believe it or not, is one of the better ones out there that you can buy. It's not all that expensive, somewhere between $60 and $100, depending on where you